As a project manager leading a software development project, you discovered that the technology currently being used is nearing obsolescence and the future support will soon be unavailable. This realization poses a significant risk to the project's long-term viability. However, transitioning to a newer technology would require additional training and reskilling of your team, an expense not included in the initial project budget. How should you approach this challenge? So, I discovered the technology we are using is getting obsolete soon. Yeah. And if we replace the technology, we have not planned the activities, expenses required for retraining, reskilling our people. So, what should I do as a project manager in this situation? Let's look at the option. Option A: continue using the current technology for the duration of the project and deal with the lack of support for a post project issues to avoid altering the current budget. It doesn't show me taking proactive approach. It is something like I'm closing my eyes because this is not something to do with me. I better don't worry about it. Say, even if you end up deciding not to change it, but you can't just avoid this information. You came to know about something and you need to discuss with right people before you take any call about it. So I can't just continue and think about not knowing this particular situation, or this particular situation is not impacting me. Yeah. So we will see later, not a good idea. Proactive, we should not be reactive. Option B: transition to a new technology immediately and expect the team to adapt on the fly, minimizing the need of additional budgeted allocation for the training. We can say, guys, we have to do it, and there is no budget for training. Now, that looks great. Yeah, but in a complex projects, we can't make unrealistic expectations. So when the question shows you that it will require reskilling, then I need to do some kind of assessment. I can't just decide that we will take the new technology and it will not change anything, because the reality will strike me back, and people will not go as per their current speed, and then I will have a problem. So I probably flag this also not that much good idea. Option C: perform a risk assessment. Yeah, that word itself gives me a green light. Perform a risk assessment to continuing with the obsolete technology versus the cost and the timeline impact of adopting new technology. Very clear answer, yeah. Including training expenses and present a revised budget proposal. Yeah, that looks good. So I can say I can do a risk assessment, and based on that, I can identify the risk response strategy. I may want to mitigate it, I may want to accept it, I may want to avoid it, and depending upon the overall assessment, if needed, I may go for the management for or asking for their advice as well. So looks great. And if after doing risk assessment, if I identified this can be taken care by utilizing our contingency reserve, I may go with that as well. So looks good. Let's see about the option D: request additional fund for the training and transitioning to the new technology based on the assumption that stakeholder will understand the urgency. So this is saying we need it fast. I don't want to do any risk assessment and all. I came to know about this. I directly go to the management and ask them, give me more money. We need it for this particular thing. Now, it may happen in the real world where you have more information available. When there is a real fire, you may directly jump for management approval, and you know the management is already aware about these kind of things happening. But in this question case, this all is not very evident. It is not shown that management is aware about the urgency. It is not shown that it is a very urgent issue. So, if as a project manager I want to project or approach anyone, I need to do my homework. Yeah, I can't just jump to it. So, though may look a good idea, option D, but it is not a systematic approach. It is not something project manager doing homework and then approaching the people. So I need to do acknowledgement of the issue, acknowledge, analyze, act. That's the three sequence. And the option C is more focusing on analysis of it. Looks like acknowledgement is already done in the question. So I'm analyzing it, and then I will find out how to act about it. Yeah. Maybe after analyzing it, I may have an assumption of B also, that we will take care of it on the fly. It is not that much complicated. It's possible. Yeah, it's possible, but I need to do my due diligence before I can make that particular judgment. So out of many available option C looks good. This particular question is touching risk and budget both. Yeah. So it is touching the task 3 of our process domain: assess and manage risk. So continuously, iteratively, we need to keep doing risk assessment. And it is definitely touching to the task 5: plan and manage budget and resources, because we need to keep re-evaluating our budgets also. We should not think that budget once made is final. Yeah, it made for our reference, but the reality is changing all the time, and I need to make sure that my project, my stakeholders are adapting with the change in reality. I need to highlight the issues, and we need to take the problem as we discover them, yeah, as soon as we discover them. So it's always a good idea to keep revisiting and reanalyzing our budgets and our other project planning related artifacts. Topic wise, we can say that this is also a little bit touching the business domain as well, because this particular question is also saying that the trigger has come from the external environment, yeah, because technology is changing. So we can say task 3 of a business domain, which talks about evaluate and address business environment changes and impact on scope, is also somewhere getting connected here. Overall topics: environmental assessment, iterative risk assessment, forecasting budget, re-evaluating budget, all are coming together in this particular question.